So it's about 2 or 3 days later after the slab was poured, giving it enough time to cure, probably longer than it needed, but had other things to do. And I'm pretty happy with it. I'm pretty happy with how it's turned out. It's smooth enough, level-ish, and now I'm going to try and remove the formwork. So pretty happy with how it turned out. Definitely thick enough, feels solid. So yeah, for a first go at it, yeah, pretty happy. That was the biggest drawback I had. This isn't the pipe I'm going to use, but it's basically the same diameter as the one that I'm 3D printing. So I'm going to have to try and chip away to make it bigger. Bought myself a masonry hole saw. It's 35mm diameter. So this is what I 3D printed. Fairly simple sort of cylinder with this like flange on the bottom. So the first thing I want to do is get it working, and then I can worry about making it look pretty, all the pipes concealed sort of thing. So this bit of pipe here was just lying around in the garden. So this was left over from the previous owners. Unfortunately, this pipe is the perfect diameter for the hose. It's been a few weeks since I poured the slab and built this mini shed type thing. So the shed protects the pump that's underneath, and there's a long cable going back to the house for electricity. I did have a solar panel and an EcoFlow lithium battery charging it, but for the number of hours that I wanted to pump it, it wasn't recharging on solar power quickly enough. So this is the housing for the pump that I built, which sits on this concrete slab which I poured, and the roof comes off easily. And then inside here we've got the pump, which is connected to the filter, which has some of those filter balls in it, and then that goes, this pipe here goes back into the pool at the far end. And then the pipe here, which connects directly into the pump, comes from the pool at a lower level, which goes through a filter, similar to filters you see on above ground pools. With the work to the plunge pool finished, our attentions turned to probably the worst condition room in the house, the old kitchen. I'm standing in what will be the living room, at least for the time being, until we progress the renovation and this eventually will become part of a bedroom. This is a room that we've kind of neglected since moving in. We've been living in the other rooms and this room has pretty much just been a storage room. But the plan is for this summer to convert this into a proper living room, and the bedroom over on that side will be the spare bedroom for guests visiting later this year. Up until this point, all we had done is apply a plaster skim to the walls and filled a lot of the holes. It seems like everyone that buys land has an urge to grow vegetables at some point, and we're no different. So many other aspects of living here have taken priority, but we're keen to get something in the ground before it's too late. We may have missed the beginning of the growing season here, so we'll have to play catch up, but building a raised bed seems like a good place to start. We're on a slope here, and part of me thinks that the raised bed should be rotated 90 degrees, but anyway, here we are. It's flat enough as it is, and this is more of an experiment. I've never done this before, don't really know what I'm doing. The wood, maybe it'll rot, maybe it won't, maybe it'll be good enough. Is it deep enough? I don't know. Looked at some videos online and it's given me a rough idea of what to do. This is what I'm going to do and give it a go. Got to keep an eye on her. She likes to dig into patches of dirt with no grass, and that vegetable bed is vulnerable. If you're new to the channel, let me introduce you to my flat roof. The waterproofing element has failed in some places and cracks have appeared. Fixing the cracks has been something that I'm not looking forward to, but I'm working on it a little at a time, and that seems to work for me. I'm going to use the angle grinder with a diamond grinding blade to take away the top layer of, well, all the layers of the waterproofing component where the crack is. That's the first step. Then the second step, which I've actually already done, I jumped ahead, is to grind away a 10mm deep channel where the crack is. Then after I've done that, fill that with a sort of waterproofing sealant adhesive that stays permanently elastic, and it's rated for outdoor use. All of these instructions are given to me by the company that manufactures this product, so I'm hoping that it will be okay. The more I walk up here, the more I see lots of little cracks everywhere. So I'm not sure if I'll get them all done in one go. I think it might be a case of fixing as many cracks as possible, then seeing if it's still leaking, going up and checking for more cracks that I missed the first time. But hopefully I'll find most of them the first time round. As you can see, grinding concrete is a fairly unpleasant job, and on closer inspection I found more and more cracks. One thing I noticed was that when it rained or the surface got wet, different areas would dry out at different rates. At first I didn't realise, but the areas that dried out slowest were often areas where there were cracks. So on a few occasions I went up onto the roof with a hose and sprayed the surface, then waited for it to evaporate, and then marked out the cracks with a pen. This made it easier to see them when the surface dried. I may have gone a bit overboard with the grinding, but I'd rather fix more cracks now than find them later on in the year.